Hi there, welcome to 3Spoonies. We are your hosts, Claire, Karen, and Joe. This is episode number 29, all about outsourcing. So come and join us as we dive in.
At Grow Radio, we've launched and supported countless podcasts, and we'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and we'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released exactly when you want. We've helped business owners, coaches, creatives, and community leaders turn their ideas into professional podcasts. Whether you're sharing industry insights, telling incredible stories, or growing your brand, we make the process simple and stress-free. Want to learn more? Our workshops and courses will guide you through everything from planning to promotion. So, if you're ready to bring your podcast to life, let's chat. Message us on social media or reach out to Gary Jones, the founder of Grow Radio. We'd love to help you get started.
I'm Claire from Sparkle's Gift Boutique.
I'm Karen from Pony Pony Pony.
And I'm Joe from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
And together we are 3Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons. So this episode is all about outsourcing. Karen and Joe will definitely be taking the lead on this one because they know a lot more about it than me.
So you should outsource. Outsourcing.
I should. I need to outsource. I will take notes.
Perfect. Or you can outsource note-taking to someone else.
Not me, my handwriting's terrible.
I'm led to believe you can get an otter to write for you. I don't know how it holds the pen in those cute little paws, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, but then its writing might just be like how it smashes rocks on its belly.
Adorable. I love that. Best meeting notes ever.
Yeah. You might not be able to read them, but you'll love them anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, that'd be good. It'll be good. So, Joe, for the benefit of people who may have heard the term but not quite know what it is, what actually is outsourcing anyway?
What is outsourcing? It is taking a task you do in your business, particularly the ones you do a lot that are monotonous, that aren't actually making you money, but you need to do, and giving it to somebody else who you pay to do it while you do the stuff that actually makes you money.
So what sort of tasks would that be?
For example, you could outsource your social media and get someone else to do it. You could outsource typing up notes, any of your admin, blog writing. I used to outsource that. I used to love outsourcing that. It would drop into my inbox every 2 weeks and I just needed to upload it, keeping your website updated, doing your accounts, things like that. Anything that you don't actually need to do to run your business, you can outsource.
So at what point is it worth outsourcing?
When you're finding time constraints are getting a little tough, but before you run out of time completely, or as soon as you can afford it.
Yeah, there can be that graph, can't there, about, I have lots of time and no money, or I have lots of money and no time. It's kind of...
When those two are here-ish, like in the middle, for those that can't see us, outsource something.
So how do you find someone to outsource to?
Oh, there's a myriad of different ways. You can meet people networking, as we've sung the praises of networking before. Not that many of us do it at the moment much, apart from Karen. Karen always does it, because Karen's amazing and practices what we preach. But yeah, that's one way of meeting people, build those relationships, and then when you're ready to outsource, you've got this people, I know this person who does whatever thing you want to get rid of. Ask for recommendations and referrals from people you know and trust, because if you know and trust them and they know and trust them, it's probably okay, but always talk to them first. Make sure you're a good fit and that you gel. People you meet, you can actively go look for things. There are things, for example, from a VA standpoint, there is the Society of Virtual Assistants has a list of what VAs you can find and what they do. I imagine there is probably lists like that for most things, but that's a little bit more of a crapshoot because you don't know them and you don't know somebody who knows them. But however, I got an amazing client that way, so it can work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, meeting people, talking to people, then going, hey, I need this, any recommendations, or somebody you've already met is the best way I'd suggest.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just for clarification, a virtual assistant, is that like Alexa or?
Often, but no, they do call Alexa a virtual assistant, which can get quite confusing if you Google the term. But no, that is a virtual admin person, though virtual assistants cover a wide array of things, from like your bookkeeping to your basic admin. Myself, I sit in marketing, social media, anything sort of admin-ish tasks you can find. There'll be a virtual assistant that does it. Someone who'll do like personal shopping, booking your travel, transcribing podcast episodes, everything and anything you can think of, there's probably a virtual assistant that does it.
So how do I find out if someone's a match? Like, what sort of questions should I be asking them?
Firstly, you want to find out what they specialize in and make sure that like they do the things you want them to do. Then it's just a case of conversation, explain your business to them. They will have their own process of sort of going through this, but the way I do it is I tend to ask a client to tell me about their business so I understand what they do, or they'll just launch in and tell me about it. So a little bit of a difference. And then, yeah, any questions you've got, pricing, how people work, how people communicate with each other, because that will change depending on who you are and what you're comfortable with. And communication is a very important one. Make sure you're a match on that one. How sort of you pay each other, what's the process of like handing work over, anything you can think of that is a how do I get this to you, how do you do it, and how are we going to work together. Plus also it's nice to have a sort of a general get to know you chat to see if you're a good fit.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. So from your experience, is it better to have one person who you really get on with, who performs lots of tasks for you, or is it better to have someone who's an absolute specialist to do, say, bookkeeping, and someone else to do copywriting, someone else to do graphic design?
That depends how much specialization you actually need. Because if you've got a general person who can do all these things and make sure they're honest to say whether they can do all these things, not just I'll have a go, and you're really good and you're really happy working with them, give it a go, see if it works, because it's easier to just liaise with one person. However, if you really do need that copywriter and a graphic designer, etc., or you need a specialist VA and a general VA, I would then absolutely take on both. I work with a couple of VAs to do the easier tasks that I might get bored doing, because their rate is cheaper than mine, and I either pay them to work alongside me while I'm doing various tasks, or I will introduce them to a client and sort of bring them into the fold, as it were. Because if you've got several VAs, you're also going to need them to work together. Same with copywriters, bookkeepers, they might need to interact. They might not, but keep in mind if they do need to interact, actually introduce them.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's the etiquette. Let everyone know where they stand, and also let people coordinate. Because if your graphic designer produces images that don't actually go with the blog someone else has written, that sounds like a massive kerfuffle, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be a massive kerfuffle.
I suppose when you're looking for all of this as well, it's and like you said about pricing. I'm guessing sometimes like you look at certain things and you're just like it's worth paying the extra money for someone. Is that the case when you're outsourcing, or do some people charge more, but you could maybe get it a bit cheaper and still get just as good quality work?
Some people do charge more. I used to be on the higher end. These days I'm middling because I haven't put my prices up in line with like everything else. But yeah, if you're looking for a specialist, expect to pay more. And if they're a specialist, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah,
But if you want something really general written or created, you can probably get it a little bit cheaper. I would be careful on doing things on like the platforms like Fiverr, and because that is a very hit and miss
yeah,
type bag, because you'll either get something absolutely terrible quality for cheap, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Or it can actually be quite good. My own avatars of my cats, they were done by somebody on Fiverr.
Oh, wow.
They weren't cheap, but they are good. And I have saved their details in case I need more. But yes, like that, it can be absolute crap. But if you find that good person, keep up.
Yeah.
Also, many would sort of extol the virtues of outsourcing to places like the Philippines or other cheap places where you're getting something very cheap per hour. But do remember on things like that, some of them are amazing, but there can be a language barrier, and they may not quite understand what you're actually asking. So it may need doing again. So
The
especially if you're
cheaper
looking,
option isn't always the better option.
no, but it's like it can be. By all means, look into it. But if you're looking for something more specialised, I would absolutely go with someone who is within your own country.
And let's not encourage exploitation. Let's not forget that element as well. People deserve to be fairly paid wherever they
Yeah.
are. Because we can't directly see them, it doesn't mean we don't have a responsibility to be treating them reasonably.
It's time for Spoons Full of Loveliness. Loads of great things from our sponsors.
Running a business with ADHD is no joke. Maddy Alexander Grout knows that firsthand. After years of battling distraction, burnout, and trying to fit into systems that just didn't work, she built a successful business on her terms. Now she helps other ADHD entrepreneurs do the same. Her coaching isn't about rigid structures or unrealistic advice. It's about finding strategies that actually work for neurodivergent brains. If you're tired of spinning your wheels and want practical, no BS support from someone who gets it, connect with Maddy on Instagram at Maddy Talks Money. Do you find yourself frustrated by social media marketing, confused by updates or flummoxed by the etiquette for each platform? Pony is here to help with faff-free social media marketing training. From one-to-one consultation and 1-hour express courses to subsidised short courses free for anyone on universal credit. Learn how to spangle up your profile, create engaging content, come up with plans and find your voice. If you want your business to sparkle, shine and stand out online, then this is for you. Gallop over to ponyponypony.co.uk to find out what's coming up next.
Oh my God, the questions just got out of my brain. This is the problem when you're a spoonie. Your questions just go.
Yeah,
Um,
you are right there.
it's like, oh, it's there. I danced and it went. It just
Those
disappeared.
of you who don't know, we always dance when we have a break for our producer because we're nice like that. And it makes him laugh.
So with outsourcing, like obviously you outsource certain things yourself as well as a business, and obviously find it quite handy. Like, are there ever any times kind of you're like, oh, you know, like things you maybe could outsource, but you're not sure if you fully should? How would you kind of get around that dilemma, if that makes sense?
Yes. I mean, the first thing I ever outsourced was my accounts. Because despite the fact I am told it's quite simple, I do not do numbers. So as soon as I set up, I needed to actually do a self-assessment. I got rid of I found an accountant in a group I was in, and I got rid of her. She has grown a lot in the last few years. I will be moving away from her because the lovely Lawrence from last episode is totally going to be my accountant because I love him and I love the way he works, just from our chat on the podcast. So yeah, I got rid of that. I used to outsource my blogs, which would drop into my inbox every 2 weeks, and I just needed to upload them. And we just discussed what topics I wanted to cover. That was amazing. I do outsource these days some client work, which is the easier stuff. That was quite hard for me. When I was outsourcing like graphic work to my husband, easy enough. We were in rooms next to each other. We could chat about it. He would whine that I didn't give him a good enough description of what I wanted. But, you know, that's a married couple thing. Whereas when I'm outsourcing to Rachel, I try to make sure she understands what I'm after. But there's always that little bit of, but this is my client that's trusting me, and I don't like passing stuff off. I'm quite precious about my work, but
I get that.
Mm.
I've known Rachel for a good few years now. I trust her and she will take criticism. So I'm happy with that. When I want to outsource other things, what else am I looking to outsource? I would probably like to outsource a fair amount of my own marketing, because after doing it for everybody else, I don't want to do it for me.
I mean, that's fair. Like, is that there's a weird description of it, but like tradespeople, they go and work at everyone else's house, and yet their house is the last one to look decent because
Yeah.
they don't have the time.
Absolutely.
And it's probably like the most visual way I can think of to put it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big proponent of outsourcing. If you can't do something, don't want to do something, or you just need that time back, get rid. But yeah, always, I understand there is a terrible thing where you don't want to hand over your baby, but eventually that's going to stop you growing. And if you're outsourcing to a specialist, you're getting better anyway, because then they'll do better for you for the money. You can go in some more.
That is fair.
What about both of you? Do you guys outsource is there stuff you want to outsource?
I've been recommended to outsource certain things, even when I get like busy with making things. People have said, like, oh, you should get someone in to help you, but I'm so fussy about how it's done. And it is that kind of giving up control on it. But I have outsourced a few bits to Rachel, like website updates, things like that. And she's brilliant because what would take me a few days of work, she done in like a few hours. So, because she's got that time to dedicate to it, whereas I get distracted by everything that's not what I want to do. So, no, it definitely does make a difference. And I do want to outsource more this year. Lawrence, for my books, is definitely one I want to outsource to because I've realised I need to do my tax return and I don't want to. I'm like, oh, it's the 15th of Jan. Is it? No, yes. And I'm like, I don't want to do it.
I mean, I have an accountant that I need to send some more stuff over to that didn't send over in my original email, and I've been doing it for a week.
I did it last April. It makes me feel itchy. I need it done.
Okay, maybe I definitely need to outsource because last April I was like, oh, I'm going to do it month by month. I'm going to be really on top of it. I think it lasted till about May or June, probably June. And you just get busy and life gets in the way and then you forget. And it's like, now I'm like, damn it, it's January and I've got over 6 months worth to do.
Well, I think I've currently got 3 months worth sat in my inbox that I need to download and put into folders. But I'm hoping once sort of like Lawrence does last year's, I can actually set up something like Xero and I do my own bookkeeping. So, and we'll keep on top of it because Lawrence will make me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's part of that. I think it can work out naturally for those of us that sort of either fall into something or start off with time but not money. I think it can work quite well doing things yourself first, so at least you've got a basic understanding, so you know how things work or what to ask for or what the terms are. Because like you said, Joe, sometimes if you don't know exactly what to ask for, the other person may not understand, or you may not know what's good, which sounds odd, but
you don't know what you don't know.
yeah, if you've not tried it yourself and you've not seen like this and this will work, you don't know what to ask for, you don't know if someone actually is doing a good job because you've got nothing to compare it to. But also you can show people something and chances are the person you're outsourcing to will be much better at it than you are. But if you can show them sort of, oh, well, here's something I've done, I know it's not perfect, here's an idea of what I'm aiming for, or, for like social media posts or blogging, if it's like, here's my voice, it's much easier for someone to match that than for you to say, write something that sounds funny. And it's like, there's so many kinds of funny. Is this like dark humor? Is this sardonic? Is this like, what kind of humor am I going for? This is, or, make a logo that looks nice.
Yeah, especially if you've outsourced to a specialist. If you give them what you're aiming for, they can probably work backwards and give you the steps to get to it, what actually needs to be done. As they learn more about you, they'll get you more. Oh, and obviously we outsource a lot of things for this podcast because we just couldn't do it without it. We don't have the time, we don't have the energy, we don't know what we're doing. Gary says we could do it without him, but we have no idea what
I was about to say, I'm sure there's a part of it where we wouldn't, I know I wouldn't know what we're doing for sure.
I could quite easily learn to do it. I don't have the software. I'd have to pay for that. and it would take time. So I'd rather Gary do that. Liz does our adverts, which is far better than us doing the adverts. It sounds so much nicer.
It really does.
I
I love having Liz do it. When you compare it to us doing it,
yeah,
especially on days when we're tired and it's like you can't get your voice right, you can hear it in your voice and stuff. Whereas Liz is just perfect.
yeah. Liz's voice is beautiful. I actually quite like making the videos to go along with it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If there's people who can do it quicker than you, better than you, and if you can afford to be paying them, then I'm all for it. I think it's a reciprocal thing. We all kind of help each other out.
Yeah.
And it's sort of one of those signs as well that you're a bit more proper, when you've got
you're a real business.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously we also outsource the subtitling to Rachel because I hated doing it, because I hate listening back to my own voice. As everybody does, but plus it's about an hour I get back every week.
Which
Yeah.
gives you a lot of time back because there's not much you can get done in that hour.
Yeah, we absolutely couldn't do this podcast without the people that the team behind us.
Yeah, I think that's it. And it is a team. And when you've built up those relationships as well, when people get you and you don't have to explain everything step by step, they kind of know what's expected. And it just makes everything much more positive. And I think for outsourcing, you have to get on with the person.
You do.
If they're, I don't know, really grumpy and you're like, well, I can't ask them a question because they'll snap at me, that's not a good relationship to be in.
You need a good relationship. I mean, there are things on this podcast which I would never outsource. The organisation of it, I really enjoy that, except when we're looking for sponsors. I enjoy that bit. I would outsource PR if we could ever afford it, but yeah.
Oh, God,
but the organisation, that's mine, go away.
Oh no, you can keep that, definitely.
I like
Well,
my spreadsheet.
also, there's things that it's just easier to do yourself. There's some things that either it requires a level of expertise most people wouldn't have, or you'd need so much prep for someone else to do it. It's almost easier to do that yourself. And I think those are sort of the core activities that you can't really outsource.
No, repeatable tasks, absolutely. Because even then you've got to spend the time sort of showing someone what to do. They then know what to do. Always, when you're thinking about outsourcing, always go with, there is some prep time, there's going to be some teething issues, there might be some issues set up. That takes time. So for the love of God, don't leave it until you absolutely have no time, because that won't work. And you'll go, oh, outsourcing doesn't work, because you don't have the time to sort of get to know the other person, get that relationship up and running, and get them up and running to actually take stuff off you.
Yeah, that makes sense. So before we get towards the end, do you have any tips or support that you would offer people?
I would, if you're thinking about outsourcing, I would make 2 lists. What do you absolutely have to do in your business that has to be you? That can't be outsourced. What needs to be done in your business that doesn't have to be you? And be really brutal about that. Even if you really like doing stuff, does it have to be you? Or can someone else do it? That is your outsourcing list. You can then break that list down to stuff you like doing, and you save those to last because you'll enjoy them, you'll do them. Stuff you don't know or don't like doing, get rid of those first. Because I often see people that come to me, it's like, I need to outsource stuff. I don't know what, I don't know how, help. You need to know what you want to get rid of first, because you need to know who you're looking for.
That makes sense. Because otherwise you'll just be out there looking for anyone that can do something and it probably cause more stress than it needs.
Yeah, it's like, I need help, I don't know what help. And then you'll get a general VA who will probably be quite confused. If you know, or at least have some idea, you don't need to know the absolute specifics, but what are the things you want to get rid of? Then go looking for those people or person, depending on which it is.
Perfect. So thank you for joining us, 3Spoonies, on our episode of Outsourcing. We would love to know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our weekly podcast and leave us a review. You can find us on social media, and we would love it if you would join us in the Business Success Network for Disabled Entrepreneurs Facebook group. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. All of our links from today will be in the show notes, and we will see you next week for community questions. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.